Okay, this is take 3. Pray that we don't have technical difficulties. Welcome to today's episode of Some of My Best Friends Are White, starring, of course, me, Nicole Cutts, and my dear friend.
The white person.
The white person has a name. Her name is Lisa Sacco. So, thank you for those of you who are joining us on this very warm Sunday. Get rid of this, sorry. And in case this is your first time joining us, this is Some of My Best Friends Are White, and Lisa and I, who have known each other for a million years, talk about issues relevant to today's society and culture: race, prejudice, police brutality, gender inequality, sexism, all kinds of things like that. So today we are going to be tackling a topic, or rather discussing, can you shut up? Topic of colorism. Now, for those of you who do not know what colorism is, it's similar to racism in that it looks at people's, skin color, because that's really what racism does, but it has more to do with the color as in dark-skinned, light-skinned, and valuing those things differently. So colorism, most people would see it as people who are prejudiced against darker skin, but there's also people who are prejudiced against people with lighter skin, okay? So, but we're going to talk about that today, and it was prompted by
prejudice against people with lighter skin?
It was prompted by one of our viewers from a few weekends ago, Lisa Williamson, who happens to be a friend of this Lisa.
My old co-worker. Shout out to Lisa.
Shout out to Lisa Williamson. Thank you for your suggestion and for watching our show. And, but maybe not, coincidentally, Lisa had also suggested the same topic. Okay, so I was like, did you see Lisa Williamson? She said no, because she doesn't go on Facebook that much. Anyway, so, but Lisa also shared with us, I haven't watched it because I kind of knew about it, but shared with us a documentary on Netflix called
Skin.
And why don't you take it from here, Lisa? Tell us.
It's a Nigerian woman who is, I haven't watched the entire thing yet, but as far as I know, it's taking place in Nigeria. And she's talking to women about bleaching, and apparently
Skin bleaching.
$23 billion business, and they said, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said like 77% of women in Nigeria have tried skin bleaching creams. So it's a big business, and she has starts in the beginning to go around and speak to these women, and also some children, and just to discuss how they feel about the color of their skin.
Okay. And I'm guessing people said, what about the color of their skin?
So, I mean, they said that their man wants them to be lighter. The little kids said, they'd rather be lighter than blacker, and then the woman was like, but your skin is black, and the little girl was like, well, it's not black, but it's black.
Okay.
So there's all these different degrees, I guess.
Right. Yes. So I didn't really. I will watch the documentary, but I didn't need to understand the concept of colorism nor skin bleaching. It was very popular. It might still be in Jamaica for a time. And it's very harsh on your skin. I mean, just like how it can be to your hair.
Yes.
So, but what's that is prompting us to talk about is, what is this prejudice about? Why does it still exist? I have a theory about it, but first I want to just, sort of anecdotally share that I don't know if you knew this, but my mom, my mom's from Jamaica, but when she let her family know, who they're predominantly light-skinned Jamaicans, that she was marrying my father, who was a darker than me, brown, brown-skinned Black American, dark brown skin, there was some comments and some pushback, and basically like, why would you want to, go darker? It's like that thing. It's like, we don't value some people within the Black and African American and Afro Caribbean, the whole thing. Anybody in the diaspora of Africa. There has always existed this like, the closer to white you are, the better, right? And even though my mother fell in love with my father and all of that, she shared comments with me about that. Like when I pointed out one of my college mates who was very dark and very handsome, I'm not going to name names, I said, don't you think he's, adorable? And she said, he's a good-looking, dark-skinned fellow. And I was like, what do you mean? So, and it's ironic, but it's not the first time I've heard that. Yeah. People who have experienced it in terms of their choices from their family still sort of try to foist that on then their children. That idea that you don't want to be too dark. Mm-hmm. My grandmother used to say when
that would be in your control.
Well, yeah, it would be in your control because basically it's like if you're going to mix your genes with somebody,
for having children.
Yeah, for having children, but also just maybe for optics. My grandmother used to say, I don't know why when we suntan, I don't know why you all want to black up your skin like that. It's like, well, I like myself with a tan because in the winter I get kind of yellowish, But yeah. So what has been? Have you, aside from this documentary, what have you heard or seen, or how do you experience this idea of color prejudice?
I see the kids at my old school. Mm-hmm. They always made fun of the kids that were darker. I mean, it was in jest and it was funny the way they messed with each other, but there was an underlying message of like we're different, especially when the black kids would kind of mess with the African kids. That was also a part of it. But even just in joking, I think it's just like the media and images that you see. It has a cumulative effect over time of determining what is appealing and what is not.
Yeah, what's beautiful.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny because the other business that's booming is the tanning business, and white people want to be darker, black people want to be lighter. Like, where are we with this?
Well, I think
and I'm not gonna lie, I like a good tan myself.
I know, and I'm not gonna lie. When we were little, when we were younger, Lisa would come over.
They tried to darken me out.
We did. I was guilty of colorism. Lisa would come over and she
pushed me out in that water.
Well, she was trying to tan and it was taking too long. So we slathered her down with oil, my brother and I. We just said, look, just go. This is before we knew about skin cancer, Just pushed her out in the middle of the pool and we're like, girl, you want to get dark, this is how you do it. We didn't realize that without enough melanin, she was gonna burn. So I apologize for that, my white friend.
It's okay. I have had a lot of skin cancers though.
I'm sorry. Maybe it originated back then, but
it was the sacrifice I was willing to make.
Right. And the thing you asked me, like, where does it? I think it comes from. I think you asked me that. Even if you didn't, I'm going to answer that question. Well, a part of it has to do with white supremacy, right? White being supreme white race, and the closer you are to emulating that or looking like that. We also have in this country, it's very, it's kind of weird. We have this one drop of black blood rule that now black Americans tend to embrace. That if you're even mixed, we will say you're black. But where it really originated, and some people might not know this, is that because in slavery times, if a white slave owner raped one of his female slaves and she had children, at first those children who are a product of that, they could claim some sort of relationship, right, and get out of being slaves. So they said, no, that's not going to work. One drop of black blood, adds to our cache of slaves.
Yeah.
And as we know,
I remember learning about
many of them, slave masters had, their own children running around the plantation.
Then how do you feel about this bleaching your skin?
Well,
lightening.
I'm not a fan personally because I think that, I wouldn't do it for me. I try to get darker. But also just in general, I think it's a very harsh measure to do to your skin. But then it does beg the question, like, okay, well, that doesn't really. I was thinking of hair and other things, but that's different. You can cut your hair off. We don't tend to be poisoned by hair color and bleaching, but the skin bleaching can cause real damage. So I can't I don't think it's a good idea, and I think it's sad if somebody would risk damage to themselves like that. But you know, people also risk their lives when they go into the knife for plastic surgery.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't. This is what we were talking about before. It's like, well, where do you draw the line? Because I will partake in some cosmetic changes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a part of my African Americanness is my nariz, my nose. I'm, you know, lucky/unlucky because I got my father's sort of negroid nose and my mother's sort of Middle Eastern hook. So, you know, I got a schnoz, right? I got a schnoz, and it shows both sides of my inheritance, and I'm good with it. But I remember when I was visiting an Iranian friend in high school, and she had a nose job, her mother had all these, everybody had a nose job.
Yeah.
And when I met her mother, she said, in Farsi, my friend translated for me, she's a very pretty girl, but why hasn't she gotten her nose done? And I was like, No, I was like, you know, it was kind of funny to me. Because to her, it's like, well, obviously that's a big nose. You probably want to take care of that.
You want to cut that back.
You might want to shrink that down a little bit. Like, but I'm like, no, I like my nose. You're like, you know, it's not.
Yeah, but then everybody gets the same nose.
Well, I really didn't explore the nose catalog, so.
I think that people start looking the same when they start doing this plastic surgery. I don't want to go down the plastic surgery.
No, I agree with you on that.
I don't want to go down that plastic surgery
we don't
road.
Have to. We don't.
But. And I also don't want to make a judgment on what somebody chooses to do because it makes them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that lightening your skin is going to help change what is considered appealing or beautiful.
See, but that's where I disagree. Because that is exactly why they're doing it. And it is because, in general, they've been surrounded by people and a culture that has said, lighter skin, even if you're black,
but that
lighter skin is more beautiful.
Yes, I know that that's what's been said, but that can also change.
How does it change?
It changes when you start being exposed to different images that then become appealing or, you know,
accepted.
Yeah, it takes time, but it's very possible. I mean, look at other things that people have done to their hair, and you know, remember everybody used to wear contacts. That was, I don't know if people do that still, but that was like a big thing during our, like, in high school, like people wearing contacts. Like, who has purple eyes?
Well, Elizabeth Taylor had like indigo colored eyes, but no, nobody has purple eyes.
It's like I don't want to say like, oh, people shouldn't do that, and I don't know. I can't, like, if you are unhappy or you are expressing yourself or that is a style you want to show, I don't really have a problem with it. But I think you can also work to change what is considered beautiful, like natural hair.
Okay. Well, I was sort of, you know, playing devil's advocate when I said how, because I kind of knew, and I agree with you. Like, you know, there was when, like, look at Vanessa Williams. She became the first black Miss America.
Right.
And it only could have happened because she was light.
Probably.
You know, and like with so many things, the first black movie stars, the first black president of an all-black university, they were usually lighter. It's like, okay, that was what was accepted. And yes, I agree it's changing. Like when you look at
Obama.
Well, he's half white and half black. But yeah, you know, I mean, if he had looked like Idris Elba, well,
I would have voted for
him. I would have voted for him. I mean, I would have voted for him regardless. I don't care how he looked, like how dark he is, but it's just like, okay, I can't bring Idris in and be okay. Like, oh, hold on, now I'm distracted.
Hold on,
hold on. Let's just pause for how sexy Idris is. Let's just stop for just a moment. Okay, Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes.
Okay, like she's beautiful. Viola Davis.
What about the model with the short hair? She's older.
I don't know models very well.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know what her name is.
But, I mean, right. But I'm just giving examples of what we can now see as beauty and these people having star quality that back in the day, not necessarily. But the part of the problem to me is that colorism does still exist.
Yes.
It does still exist.
Of course it exists.
And maybe that's why I say it's a little controversial, just because there are some people who might want to say, oh, it's not like that anymore, you know, but it very much is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that representation is important, like you were talking about. It can change, you know, we can expand our definition of beauty by what we see in front of us. When you have a darker skinned person on the cover of a magazine, a fashion magazine, where, okay, this person is beautiful. Hair, you mentioned hair being natural. You know, that's been changing. Like a lot of female newscasters who previously, like, to be on the news, to be acceptable, you had to have your hair relaxed. It had to be long. That's another thing. You know, but all of those things, in my opinion, are based on the idea of white supremacy, of saying the closer you are to emulating.
It's the dominant culture.
Right. It's the dominant culture, but we have to remember that it comes with more than just, okay, this is the dominant culture. White supremacy is something that causes. So
then
real
how do you feel
problems.
about white girls wearing cornrows and how do you feel about that?
Well, you know, here's my thing. I do have some prejudices, you know, biases, and I look at those, I admit it. I am what you call a looksist. I'm a looksist. So I don't say, no, white girls shouldn't have cornrows, or, you know, black people shouldn't. It's not that. It's no hard and fast rule. I look at each individual, and for me, kind of, maybe it's like an artistic thing when it comes to external qualities. I am very visually motivated, and I would say I look at it like a work of art. Whatever you do, like, does it work?
Yeah.
You know, does it work?
Can you pull it off?
Can you pull it off? So if I see,
does it look like you're trying, or does it look like?
Does it look natural?
Yeah.
Does it?
I agree with that.
You know, so I wouldn't just say, oh no, white girls shouldn't wear cornrows. That's
But
wrong.
I've seen some really bad ones.
Well, I haven't, but I'm just saying, no, I wouldn't say don't do it. I would say, you know, I mean, and then again, that's superficial. Like, I admit, being looksist is superficial. It doesn't have anything to do with who you are as a person, but we are talking about external qualities and aesthetics. You know,
there's nothing wrong with looking good.
I mean, that's my bias.
Some people don't care.
Bias.
Some people don't. They don't care what they look like.
That's true, and I
got a problem with it.
Me too. You know, but again, I think for me, I am very just aesthetically motivated. Period. So I love to see beauty around me. To me, it's similar to caring about how your home looks.
Yeah.
You know, how does your yard look? You know, does it look neat and symmetrical? You know, that's my preferred aesthetic, and it extends also to people, because for me, clothes, hair, jewelry, adornments are a part of creating a look and a palette. And it's also perceived by other people. It sends a certain message, and it can be interpreted different ways. So obviously, I got my opinion. Other people have their. So I wouldn't say, oh no, you shouldn't do that, or you know. But if you came to me and said, does this look good on me? I would have an opinion. You know, no, take that off. And then I would, you know, send her to Lisa, who would just, I mean, I might say it nicely. Lisa would just read them evilly. Lisa came over to my house because she's a, you know, fashionista, and she was doing style consulting. She came over to help clear out my closet. Good thing I don't have thin skin, because she would take stuff out of my closet and be like, what is this? Can I tell them what you said about the brown dress?
Oh God,
it's field hair. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, this is a part of it. This is how we're. I had this brown patterned dress.
It was terrible.
Well, it was very boxy. Ann Taylor Loft, and
it's a terrible color.
And Lisa is also very much about, like, how does it read against my skin color? And so it was brown and beige kind of patterning. And she was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a work dress." She's like, she had me put it on. She's like, "You look like a slave. Take it off." And I was like, "Word, okay, that's going in the throwaway pile."
It was the worst.
You know, and we were laughing so hard because it's like You know, I mean, and I know
Someone's gonna be pissed about that.
I don't care. I mean, we all know what looking like you're in like, you could be in like a gunny sack dress or looking like you're wearing a potato
It was
sack.
like matching. It was
was
literally the same color as you. There was like no differentiation.
Yeah, like I don't know.
between you and the dress.
Yeah, like you know, you're like
It's
you
like
look
how
like it was
it's like how white people shouldn't wear that green, that
like chartreuse, the bright green.
that like pea green.
Mm.
It's bad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
bad color.
Yeah. Okay.
Men with
Speaking
their
of
shirts.
colorism.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, so right. So what I'm saying is that's an aesthetic choice. And I asked you for your advice. I saw that as that. Now, if people want to get angry because my white friend told me that I resembled a slave in a particular garment, they can go ahead. No, I'm just like, I don't know how people
Here we
perceive it.
go.
To me it was funny. You know, if I met a white stranger and I walked into an office and they were like, "You look like a slave," I'd be like, "Word, call the ACLU, get my attorney on the phone, because you're not my girl, and I didn't ask you your opinion, but I asked you." She also threw out all my shoes. I was like, I called her, and next time I had to go to work, I'm like, "I'm barefoot. I need some shoes." She was like, "Oh," she also told, "Well, this is clownist. You look like a clown. Take those off. Remember those red shoes?" You look like a clown. I was like, okay. But then my mom also clowns some of your fashion choices when you come over to my house.
Your mom never holds back with me.
Oh my God. She's like laughing when we came in those. She's like, "Where are you
know.
going in those big leg pants?"
You're not allowed to have any. Can I borrow your fan? I am
Oh,
literally-
now you want my fan.
I am sweating.
Now you want my fan. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no feelings allowed in these households.
No, yeah. So that's probably why I was used to it, because I grew up with my mom who'd be like, take that off. You look homeless. Okay. I mean, and I had some fashion choices back in the day. I mean,
Yeah.
I was
Oh, yeah.
the wildest, and my mom was like, "Lord help me."
Oh yeah.
I had these, you talk about big leg pants, I had these big wide foot, but like they were like almost pajama-like material. I think those nearly put her under. What she did with those, she's very clever, because when she wants something, she like gave me an alternative. She had to be like, she's like, "Here, take these
let
pants.
go, let go,
Take them."
them.
You're right. And then it's like, either stuff them into a hassock or, turn them quickly into rags. I find some of my old shirts in a hassock.
"Get me my shoes."
She's like, I've opened up
She
hassocks in her house. I'm
Edward
like,
Scissorhands.
"Hey, this is my T-shirt. Why is my T-shirt in here?" It's like, because you wore it too much and I didn't want to see it again. It's stuffed away. So I don't know. I mean, we've strayed from. Do we need to say anything more about colorism?
No.
Okay, that was definitive. Colorism bad. No. Oh, I did want to say something about the relationship between Venetian thinking and color. Where a part of what I think where this prejudice against darker comes from in general.
Yeah.
So Venetian thinking, it was a religion like back in the day, back in the day, and it had to do with duality. Everything was very firmly split into this or that, and the opposition of these things. Not seeing any, relationship, but they had to be. The relationship was dual, right? So it's like good and evil, black and white, and it's like something that I think continues to invade people's minds, where they say, "Oh, I was in a dark mood," or "It was a black day,"
Yeah.
or that is I find that offensive.
Light is like rebirth, and black is death.
And like a white lie. What the, a white lie, pure as the driven snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's a part of that Venetian thinking, and I think that figures also into just our general racism, and then also filters into colorism. That the lighter you are, the closer you are to good.
Yeah. I agree.
It's like that Key and Peele skit with the black ice. When they were like, "Why, like black ice?" and he was like, "I think it's the snow, the white snow," But like, yeah, and why is everything black supposed to be bad? Black humor.
I used to work with a woman who was she only worked like a couple of days out of the year because she was always getting hurt
Yeah.
or like having a surgery or ambulance
sick.
chasing.
Malingering.
So I called her Black Ice. Called her Black Ice. She was white, but I called her Black Ice.
Because you're like, she's.
Because I was like, it's winter time. It's just a matter of time before she takes a tumble.
Comes to the black ice.
She's been here for 2 weeks. She's ready to go out again.
Black ice.
So
Anyway,
shout out
so-
to Black Ice. Lisa Williamson knows who Black Ice is.
Okay, you remember now. You made me not show the other thing because of some comment. You trying to make this?
No, this is fine.
video
I don't
too?
care.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed our discussion today. I hope that if you're watching this now or later, that you leave your comments and or questions. So far, nobody's had any questions for us, probably because they're like, what are they going to say?
They had a question last week about my hat.
Oh, would you like to address that? Your MAGA
No.
hat?
I don't. It wasn't a MAGA hat.
Would you like to address the wearing a MAGA hat?
It wasn't a MAGA hat.
Here we are with Lisa Sacco, who wore a MAGA hat on the same video with her black friend. What do you think about that, Lisa?
It was a Manituck hat.
Oh, it was
From New
Manituck,
York.
not MAGA?
Manituck.
Now, what is Manituck for our viewers?
It's a town in New York. It's a very small town in New York.
Okay. Yes, we're joking, but
In the North Fork.
in our last episode, Lisa was wearing a predominantly red cap, and some people who didn't look closely enough, maybe they didn't think it was MAGA. Maybe they just were like,
Well,
reminded me
maybe
of
because
MAGA.
it started with an M, and I could see.
And you're white. And you're white.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I will say it did give me
But-
pause.
but
When you
why
got
would I
out of the
wear it?
car, I knew you weren't wearing a MAGA hat. But it's the association. And I'm not saying don't wear it. I'm just saying
No, I understand.
we can make choices, but people will read certain things.
I understand.
So when people see a red cap, listen, when I see a red cap out there in the world, I go, "Huh?" And I look and I'm like, is that MAGA, Manituck, Adidas, the Senators? You know, what is that hat? You know,
Run
I do
DMC.
look. Run DMC. You know, it's like, okay, you're down. Oh wait, MAGA, Manituck? Hold
No,
on.
I could understand why people would have been
Yeah.
confused. But
Yeah, but just to be clear, and also please, if you watch the videos, if you see a picture like that, don't just say, okay, that girl's wearing a MAGA hat. Watch the video.
trying to ruin my reputation.
I have I allow people to have their own opinions.
That's fine.
Psych, I wouldn't have a MAGA friend. I don't want
It's
that.
okay, I
We're
can
too,
handle
be
myself.
too diametrically opposed. I know, it's not even me. Anyway, so we're wrapping up. Please, again, leave comments if you have any questions about our fashion choices, or the more important topic today of colorism. Please leave it. Also, leave suggestions for topics that you would like to see us discuss. We'd be happy to do that. I'd like to end this episode as I have others. Roberta said, Trump ruined red hats.
I mean, true.
He did. Roberta, thank
But
you
I'm
for
taking
joining
it back.
us.
I'm taking red back. From Trump.
She's reappropriating
I'm
red hats.
taking red back from
She's
Trump.
taking it back.
Fuck
She's
him.
ooh. Oops. Hey, Leslie Cunningham Walsh. Oh, blood clot. Hold on. I didn't mean to. Bloody hell. Okay, I'm all over the place. Shaw, thanks for watching. Oh, hey, Mrs. Trotman, thanks for watching. Maybe you can leave a comment about some of the colorism that exists in the Caribbean. Mignon Brown, thank you for watching. Terrence, I see you got your Facebook name, but I know who you are. Tim Davis, what? What's up, Timot? Mary Britton, she's joining us from down south, Decatur, Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah, she likes red, but because
Georgia.
of Alabama, like those Crimson Tide, like your dad liked. Your dad went there.
Georgia's where a WNBA woman is.
We're not
Sorry,
addressing
I
that
know.
today. We'll address that in a video.
Okay.
Mary, Gloria Kane, thank you for watching. And if you're watching later and I didn't get to shout your name out, just know that we appreciate you.
We do.
All right, see you next time.